No one announces when it happens. There is no ceremony, no trumpet in the sky, no light breaking through the clouds to tell you that you have been chosen. It happens in silence. Welcome to Chill Then Conquer. One morning, without knowing why, you wake up and you feel it. Something shifts. Something inside you moves from sleep to wakefulness. You do not tell anyone. You barely admit it to yourself. Because how could you? It is not something the world will understand. This is not the kind of thing you can explain over coffee or post about online. It is not a title. It is not a promotion. It is not a medal. It is not the kind of success that fits neatly into a sentence. It is a selection. And selection is different from success. Success is something the world can measure. Selection is something only the unseen forces can decide. You will not find a list of names anywhere. The chosen are not recorded in books or in history pages. They walk among the rest, indistinguishable on the outside. But within them, there is a mark, not on their skin, on their spirit. The mark is not a reward. It is a summons. It does not say, "You have earned this." It says, "You are required now." It is not an honor, it is a calling. And callings do not come with applause. They come with weight. When you are chosen, you begin to notice how little you fit into the ordinary conversations of people. You hear them talk about the next weekend, the next purchase, the next entertainment. You smile, you nod, you might even join in, but somewhere, deep down, you know you are no longer made of the same material. This is not because you are better than them. It is not because you are above them. It is because you are being pulled somewhere they cannot follow yet. The path is narrow, and not everyone wants the narrow path. Selection is not given to the loudest. It is not given to the most prepared. It is not given to the one who begs for it. It is given to the one who is ready to carry it, even if they never asked for it. There is an old truth whispered in the dark corners of time. The chosen are rarely the volunteers. They are the ones who were going about their lives when the signal came. Sometimes the signal is a loss. Sometimes it is a betrayal. Sometimes it is an unexpected ending. Sometimes it is an inner hunger so sharp it cuts you open. But whatever form it takes, it leaves you unable to go back to who you were before. It is not something you can turn down. You can delay it. You can run from it. But it will wait. It will circle back to you when you think you have escaped. And when it finds you again, it will not knock. It will not ask permission. It will step into your life and rearrange it. It will remove certain people. It will place you in certain storms. It will demand of you a strength you have not yet built, and it will not apologize for asking. The chosen are never given the easiest road. They are given the road that breaks and rebuilds them. The road where the air gets thinner the higher you go. The road where you walk alone for long stretches. You will know you are on that road when you realize there is no map. You are not following anyone else's footprints. Every step you take is through fresh ground, through untamed territory. The comfort of knowing how far you have left is gone. You walk by instinct now. That instinct will not be understood by most. Some will think you are lost. Some will think you are wasting your time. Some will try to pull you back to the old life, not out of malice, but because your journey makes them uncomfortable. Do not expect them to understand. They cannot see what you see. They cannot feel what you feel. The signal did not come for them. It came for you. When you are chosen, patience becomes your companion. You begin to understand that the path will reveal itself only when you take the next step, not before. You stop asking for the whole plan. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You move because you must. And yet, even in the struggle, there is a strange calm, a knowing that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, even if where you are looks nothing like where you imagined. That is the secret of the chosen. Their peace does not depend on clarity, it depends on obedience to the call. The call is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is a whisper in the middle of the night. Sometimes it is the quiet certainty you feel in your chest when you are about to make a decision that no one else agrees with. you will begin to notice the difference between what pulls you and what pushes you. The chosen are pulled by something ahead, not pushed by fear behind. This is why they can endure storms that break others. This is why they can keep walking when every visible reason says to stop. You may be tempted to test the call, to see if it will fade if you ignore it. But the truth is, once you have been chosen, the ordinary world will never satisfy you again. You will eat the same food, talk to the same people, walk the same streets, but something will always feel missing unless you are on the path. This is how the chosen live, with one foot in the visible world and one foot in the unseen. It is a life of tension. It is a life of surrender. And it is a life that not everyone is meant to carry. There is one more thing about the chosen that few ever realize. You see, the greatest illusions are not the ones that fool the eyes. They are the ones that live in the mind, quiet, unquestioned, and defended as truth. They sit in the shadows of our identity, shaping how we speak, what we reach for, and even how we suffer. From the moment we open our eyes as children, the world begins feeding us these illusions. They come from parents who loved us but carried their own fears, from teachers who taught us what they knew but not what was true, from friends who mirrored our insecurities back to us, from a culture that thrives on keeping us chasing what can never be held. And the ego, the ego, loves this game. It thrives in a palace built entirely from illusions. It prefers a comfortable lie to a shattering truth, because truth often means the end of who we think we are. And so, you learn to protect the very prison that keeps you from freedom. This is why people fight for their limitations, as if defending their honor. They cling to toxic relationships because letting go would mean admitting they were wrong about love. They stay in jobs that drain their soul because leaving would destroy the image of stability they've spent years building. They silence their own dreams because dreaming would threaten the safe but suffocating cage they've mistaken for life. But here's the harsh truth that few can bear. Every prison is self-made. Every chain was, at some point, willingly clasped around the wrist. And every lock has always had the key, buried in the very hand that complains about its weight. The moment you begin to see this, the moment you stop pointing outward and begin looking inward, you step into dangerous territory. Because once you see the bars of the cage, you cannot unsee them. And once you taste even a moment of freedom, no amount of comfort will make you want to go back. This is the breaking point. The ego will fight like a cornered animal. It will tell you that you are betraying yourself. It will whisper that you are ungrateful for what you have. It will scream that stepping beyond the familiar will destroy you. But in truth, it is not you that will be destroyed. It is only the false self you've been carrying. And this is why so few take the path inward. It is not the difficulty that stops them. It is the cost. Because you cannot step into truth without first burning the illusions that gave you comfort. And burning illusions feels like burning your own skin. So you hesitate. You stand between two worlds, the one you know and the one you do not yet trust. Your mind creates 1,000 reasons to delay, just a little longer in the familiar, just one more day of playing the role, just one more season of pretending. But there comes a moment when even pretending becomes unbearable, when the weight of living someone else's script crushes the last breath of joy from your chest, when the mirror no longer lies for you, and when that day comes, you will face the most important choice of your life. Will you step beyond the illusions, or will you sink back into them? And here's the truth I need you to hear. There is no halfway. Once you begin dismantling the lies, the process cannot be undone. Once you've heard the truth in the quiet corners of your mind, the noise of the world will never satisfy you again. This is the nature of awakening. It does not politely knock. It tears the door from its hinges. The ones who make it through this fire do not emerge the same. They do not return to who they were, and they do not fit neatly into the lives they once lived. They carry a certain quiet in their eyes, a knowing that cannot be explained. They move differently, speak less, and act with a weight that only truth can give. They are no longer pulled by the same strings that once controlled them. Praise does not intoxicate them, and criticism does not wound them. They walk through a marketplace of egos and illusions as a guest, not a buyer, because they have seen what cannot be unseen, that the world outside is only a reflection of the world inside. And when you see this, something irreversible happens. The things you once chased now feel hollow. The victories you thought would fulfill you taste like ash. The people who once intimidated you now seem small, and the fears that once ruled your life dissolve in the light of awareness. It is here that you begin to live not for applause, not for approval, and not for the fragile safety of belonging, but for truth itself. And truth, once chosen, will strip you of everything that is not you. That is the cost, and that is the reward. Because the illusions will fall, one by one, until nothing remains but what was always real. And when you finally stand there, bare, unguarded, without the masks and without the roles, you will see that you were never lacking, you were never broken, you were never in need of becoming someone else. You only needed to remember. You begin to see that life does not hand you peace in a wrapped package. It offers you storms, betrayals, and losses, and in the middle of them, it whispers, "Here. Here is where you can build it." The illusion of control starts to fade. You stop asking the world to be different, and instead, you begin shaping yourself to meet the world as it is. This is the quiet dignity that cannot be taken away, because it is not built on someone's approval, nor on the fragile ground of outcomes. It is carved into your very being. But there's a catch. The moment you step onto this path, you notice how much of your life was lived for the gaze of others. The clothes you wore, the decisions you made, the words you held back, or the ones you said, were all in some way meant to manage the impressions of people who might not even think of you twice when the day ends. The weight of this realization is both liberating and heavy. You wonder how many choices were truly yours. Then something strange happens. The quieter you become inside, the less the noise of the world reaches you. You start noticing that people mistake your silence for distance, your refusal to react for weakness, your self-possession for coldness. But this is only because they have never tasted the freedom of not needing to be seen. When you are no longer bound by the invisible leash of their approval, you move differently. You choose differently. It is not arrogance, it is clarity. And clarity is threatening to those who still live in the fog. They will try to pull you back, remind you of who you used to be, insist that you are changing too much. But you do not argue with them. You simply keep walking because you have learned the most dangerous thing a person can do to you is not rejection or betrayal. It is to convince you to live a life that is not yours. And so, piece by piece, you reclaim your voice, not to shout, but to know it's there. You reclaim your time, not to fill it with distractions, but to fill it with meaning. You reclaim your mind, not to control the world, but to control how you meet it. In this reclamation, you start to understand nothing in life is truly yours, except your ability to choose how you will meet the day. And when that choice is made from a place of inner steadiness, the world may still shake around you, but you will not be moved. The hardest battle is not with those who doubted you, abandoned you, or underestimated you. The hardest battle is with the ghost of who you used to be. That version of you still lives in the corners of your mind, still remembers the old patterns, the old fears, the old compromises. He whispers in moments of weakness, "You were safer when you stayed quiet, when you stayed small, when you belonged to them." At first you think you've left him behind, but he appears in subtle ways. In the hesitation before you make a bold decision, in the reflex to apologize for taking up space, in the sudden fear of losing people who are no longer even part of your journey. This is the shadow war, the one no one sees, the one without applause or recognition. And it is here that many turn back. Because the old self offers a comfort the new self cannot yet give. But if you stand your ground, something changes. You begin to see that the old self was never truly you. It was a mask you wore to survive in an environment that demanded you be less than you were. And you survived. But survival is not living. To live, you must allow that mask to fall, even if the sound of it breaking is heard by everyone around you. The strange thing is, the moment you let go of that mask, you feel naked, not weak, but exposed. People will react. Some will distance themselves. Others will try to remind you of who you were so they can feel comfortable again. But you will not return, because you have tasted the truth. It is better to walk alone in your own light than to sit surrounded in a darkness built for someone else's comfort. This is where your discipline becomes everything. Not the discipline of rigid schedules or endless grind, but the discipline of returning to yourself each day, of checking your thoughts, your motives, your emotions, not to suppress them, but to ensure they serve you, not the ghost. You learn to sit in stillness, not out of passivity, but because you no longer need to rush toward what is not meant for you. And then, without trying, you begin to move differently in the world. Your silence becomes a fortress. Your presence becomes heavier. Your choices become sharper. People notice, but they can't explain it. They say you've changed, and they're right, but not in the way they think. You have stopped living as an echo. You have become the voice. The war with the old self is not won in a single moment. It is fought every day, in the small decisions that seem invisible to others. The choice to walk away instead of explaining. The choice to create instead of consume. The choice to stay steady when provoked. These choices seem small, but they are bricks in the wall of the new life you are building. And when enough bricks are laid, you realize the battlefield has shifted. It is no longer about surviving storms or silencing ghosts. It is about mastering the craft of living on your own terms, so completely that no one and nothing can pull you back. Stay with me in the next part. We'll step into that mastery, the place where your life stops being a reaction to the past and becomes a creation for the future. And so, my friend, we arrive at the edge of the path. Not the end of the journey, but a turning of the road. You have stood in the fire, you have walked through shadow, you have felt the weight of your own silence and the truth of your own strength. If you have listened this far, it is because something deep within you refuses to return to who you were before. That part of you, the one that will not bend again, the one that no longer begs for a place in someone else's story, will be the compass from here on. This is the work. This is the transformation, and if you carry it forward, if you live it daily, then the man you are becoming will not need to speak for anyone's approval, because his very presence will speak for itself. I will meet you again on the road ahead. We will go deeper. We will sharpen the mind, harden the will, and build the kind of life that no storm can break. If this voice has met you where you needed it most, subscribe and walk with us into the next chapter. The journey is not over. This is only the next rise in the mountain, and I will be waiting for you there.